Hey guys, before we get started with the video, I just wanted to give a quick rundown of the Discord server in case anyone was not familiar with what Discord was or they weren't sure how to join the server. But here's just a sneak peek at what we have going on the server. So right now we have 224 members in there. That number is going up by 5 or 10 members every single day. But I have multiple channels in here. One where you can watch the latest YouTube video the moment it goes live. You can watch it directly in the Discord server so you don't have to open up another browser or watch it on YouTube. This links directly to the YouTube video. I have channels for technical analysis where you can use my Discord bot and you can just look at TA for different tickers at any time you want. You can look at open interest, you can look at the long-term graphs, the daily graphs, all happens instantaneously here. You can look at the short volume on different tickers. We have discussion channels for stocks, for options in case you want to buy options or sell options. Then we have a separate channel just for Theta Gang. This is probably the most popular channel in the Discord where we all kind of hang out all throughout the day during market hours. We have a channel for futures discussion if you like to trade futures. We have a show and tell category where basically you can post your max gains, your max losses, hopefully not a lot of losses, where you can post screenshots of your profits for the week or for the day. We also have a lounge if you just want to hang out after hours or even during market hours and just chill with some of the members in our Discord server. So yeah, a lot of things to do in the Discord server. Just look for the link in the description below and come on in. Hey guys, how's it going? Solo here, back with another daily update video. It is Friday, August 7th. It's after market hours. It's 5:18 p.m. Eastern time. And looking at the big board here, really doesn't tell the correct story in my opinion. I mean, it's pretty much green or maybe half red, half green on the board. But if you take a look at the big name stocks were in the red today. I mean, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook was up a little bit, a little over 1%, Google down. But look at the semiconductors and specifically look at AMD. AMD was down 2% today. And that's how you know that it was a red day in the market because even AMD took a hit today. But Micron was flat pretty much. Qualcomm down 2.5, Nvidia down 1.2, Intel got battered again, down 1.1%. So a lot of the big name stocks were red today, Visa, MasterCard, but some of the other stocks like the bank stocks, financial stocks were actually green. So it's a little bit odd because pretty much all my watch list, which I will admit is very heavy in the tech sector, was red. And so, it wasn't a great day in the market for me, partly because of my space puts, which I'll talk about. But as far as Activision, let's just take a look at Activision because if you remember from my prior videos, my strikes were at $76, $77, and $78. And as you can see, Activision, although it was red as well, closed at $82 and some change. So my puts all expired worthless. So let's calculate how much I profited. So my $78 put, I received $123 in premium. My 77 strike put, I received $102 in premium. And my 76 strike put, I received $76 in premium. So I collected a total of $301 in max profit on all three of those puts on Activision. So very nice gain in my opinion. Let's just calculate how much I had in collateral or at risk. So $7,800 for my one strike, $7,700 for the other strike, and $7,600 for my third strike. So I had a total of $23,100 in collateral. I mean, I knew I went all in on Activision this week. I had a good feeling about its earnings. So that's why I dumped heavy. I mean, I dumped the vast majority of my portfolio into Activision plays, but thankfully it worked out for me. So my return on risk for those three plays was $301 divided by 23,100 in collateral. So I earned a little bit over 1% on average of over those three plays. So I'm really happy with that. Can't complain. 1% in a week, and that's just on my Activision plays, is fantastic in my opinion. I mean, again, if you can get 1% a week for 52 weeks without thinking about compound interest or at least compounding your gains into the next week plays, that would be about a 52% return over a year, which is unheard of. But space did not do so well today. I think the whole stock market was itching for the stimulus bill to get passed, which did not get passed. Maybe it'll get passed this weekend, but I had some decisions to make on space because, as you can see, my puts on space were at $19. We opened the market at 1907, so already these puts were getting tested. So as soon as the market opened, in my mind, I had two options. Either roll out these options for next week, which I would have collected more premium for, so I could have done that, or let these options ride. And I was watching this stock all day. So at any point all day long, I could have rolled these options because it continued to dip further and further. I mean, we closed in the low 18s, so we dropped almost $1 today on Virgin Galactic. But my other option was get assigned the shares of stock at $19 per share and then sell covered calls on it the following week. And I chose to get assigned shares of stock, and that was a personal decision. I'm not saying that that's the right answer here, but that's the decision I make. And I'll talk about the reasoning behind that. So here was my thought process. Because if I had traded, or I should say rolled that option out. So I looked at rolling the option out around 3 o'clock this afternoon just to see what it would be. So at the time, the put that I already owned, or I had a trade open on, was worth roughly $70 in premium. So I sold it for $13 in premium. So I don't want to close that position out for a loss because that would have been a pretty significant loss. I mean, roughly $70 minus the 13 I sold it for, I would lose about $57 per contract, and I sold 2 contracts. So I would lose about $100. It's not the end of the world, but if I really, really didn't want to get assigned shares of the stock and I really didn't want to roll it to next week, I could have just taken the hit and it would have been okay. I would still have been profitable for the week, profitable for the year, profitable for the month. So I could have done that. But really, in my opinion, that was not a good strategy. So I was left with 2 options of either rolling the option out or just getting assigned the shares, assuming that SPACE was not going to go above $19 before end of day. And it didn't. So I looked at the 19 strike put for the following week, August 14th, to see how much premium I would collect. And at that time, it was roughly $140. So what I could have done was I could have bought back my current put for $70, and then I could have sold the following week 19 strike put for about $140. So I would still get an additional $70 in credit, which would not have been a bad trade. I mean, I think that would have been a great trade because I would have still collected roughly $13 in premium from this week. And then in theory, I would have collected another $70 net in premium for next week. And I would give myself another week for Virgin Galactic to rally above $19 per share and then not have to worry about getting assigned those shares. Now, the downside of that is that I have that collateral tied up in this trade for another week. And, granted, $1,900 times 2 contracts, I would only have $30 to $100 tied up in it, which is not that big of a part of my portfolio. But for maybe some people, this was your entire portfolio. I don't know. But for me, it was a small portion of my portfolio, so I wasn't too concerned about having that collateral tied up in Virgin Galactic. Now, I chose not to roll those options because the other option would have been also to roll it down to $18 because, as you can see, the $18 strike would have netted me about $73 in premium. So I could have rolled it down to next week for an 18 strike and still collected about an extra $3 in premium. So that was another option. I could have rolled it down to a lower strike as well to improve my chances of not getting assigned shares next week. But the trade-off there was I would net less premium. So I didn't want to do either of those 2 options. What I chose to do was get assigned shares of stock at $19. And I chose that for a couple of reasons. Because one, I noticed that SPACE didn't just drop hard, right? So I knew it was hovering in the mid to low 18s. So if I got assigned stock at 19 per share, the current stock price wasn't way too far off, meaning it was conceivable that at some point next week, SPACE could rally above 19. I mean, if SPACE just tanked today to let's say $10, and now I was, my strike was at 19 and the share price was at 10, well then at that point I would have done anything I could to either roll that option out or just close it for a loss because there would be so much of a gap that it would not be worthwhile for me to sell covered calls on it next week. Or if I did decide to do covered calls, I would have to sell them at a lower strike than my cost basis, which again adds a little bit of risk there. But because it was in the low 18s to mid 18s, I already knew if I went to sell a call on it and I had checked, at let's say my cost basis of $19, I could sell them for about $70 per contract in premium. And that's not bad, because if you just think about it, $70 over $1,900 in collateral, or the amount of money that I've tied up in per each contract, that would be a 3.7% return on my capital in a week, which would be amazing. And like I said, space didn't drop that far, so I think it's conceivable that space can rally at some point next week and close Friday, August 14th, above $19. I mean, if I really wanted to kind of try and milk it for all it's worth, I could sell covered calls at $19.50 or $20. So I would net a little bit less premium initially, but then I would get, $50 to $100 per contract in stock appreciation if Virgin Galactic does rally. And I did think the stock was going to rally, not necessarily because of the company itself, but I think a lot of the market downturn today was because this stimulus bill hasn't been passed. The two sides are still kind of bickering over it. So I think that eventually this bill will pass, whether it's over the weekend or at some point next week. And I think once the bill does pass, I think the market overall will rally and go green. And with that, my opinion or my thought is that space will also rally and go green. And like I said, I'm only right now about 70 cents away from my strike price at $19. So I think it's very easy for space to rally 70 cents, because space by its nature is a very volatile stock. I mean, it'll move by $1 or $2 at least every single day. So I think I'm pretty safe. I gambled a little bit by not rolling the option out, because I thought that I could earn more profit in the long run by getting assigned the shares and selling a covered call. So that was my thought process. Was one, I think I can earn more money next week by getting assigned shares and selling covered calls. But also, I played that gamble because I think at some point the market is going to rally once this stimulus bill gets passed. So that was my thought process of getting assigned the shares. I know people in the Discord server were curious if I rolled them out or not, but that's the reasoning why I did not roll out my options. And that being said, I still was able to collect the $13 in premium times 2 contracts, so an extra $26 by letting these things ride till the end of the day and get assigned the shares. So in total this week, I made $327, because $301 for my Activision plays and then $26 on my space play. So was one of my better weeks on record so far, so I'm really happy with that. Hopefully next week I can also have another green week and make maybe $200 to $300. I will have to look into this weekend which options I want to play, because I still haven't found a great setup. I'm still keeping an eye on Micron, because like I said, it's been beaten down the past few days. It's been red pretty much every day, I feel like, for the past week. So if I can get in, I was looking at some Micron plays earlier today, and where Micron was trading at currently, the premiums weren't great, but it's been getting beaten down lately, so maybe it's due for a little bit of a rally. But I checked, I could probably get in around the 46 strike price on Monday to collect at least a 0.4% return on my risk. So let's just see, $21 divided by 4,600 in collateral. So that would make me, just a little over 0.4%. I mean, maybe even 45, 50 I could get in. So, it's trading at 48. Like I said, it's been beaten down lately. Look at the graph here. I mean, 45 or 46 is going to be below this Fibonacci level here, which is actually the 50% Fibonacci level. And also, you can see that it's kind of been hugging this trend line that I drew a few days ago. So I think it would take a lot for Micron to both break my trend line, if it's accurate, and also this Fibonacci line. So I think I'll be pretty safe at 46 or 45.50 next week on Micron. Let's see what happens this weekend. Again, especially if a stimulus bill passes this weekend and the market rallies overall, I think Micron will also rally with it. Taking a look at the squeeze indicator here, we're really not very bullish, not very bearish. We're kind of just hugging the baseline here. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Maybe we'll take a look at what the market is doing after hours, Sunday night, and then pre-market Monday morning. But as of right now, I really haven't found a good trade setup in any of my usual tickers that I like to play. I mean, like I said, AMD had a very rare pullback. I mean, just take a look. It looks like a step ladder here, or a staircase, where it just goes up, rallies, goes up, flat, rallies, goes up, flat. I mean, AMD's just been a rocket lately. Kind of crazy what it's been able to do. So that was my trading week for this week. Let me know how you did. Did you open up any new positions today? Did you close any positions early today? As always, make sure you get in the Discord server. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And happy trading.